Welcome back, everybody. Okay, we have a little culture today on the show. We have Bucky Zeet here, who has just written the book Touched by the Sun. You're going to tell us a little bit about it.
Be glad to. It's an epic fantasy, and epic fantasies are probably in the genre of the Lord of the Rings and the Bulgarian and things like that. And it's about overcoming doubt and fear. It's about courage, determination, and of course hope, which is a very important.
Could you get some bigger topics, please?
You're just going to solve the problems of the world, right?
I know.
Aren't we ambitious?
Are we? Well, it's going to be a long series. I mean, this is the first book of a 5-book series. The next one should be out within a year. It's being edited now and read, so get working on that.
Well, fantasy is such a huge thing. We did the Comic-Con for the first time this year. I've never been to anything like that. Did you go? Are you?
I did not.
Have you ever been to the one in California? Are you aware of how crazy fantasy fans are?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, do you have the movie rights, and can I sign on to be your lead? I mean, a 5-book deal, that sounds pretty good.
Wait. Holly, you're already sucking up to an author 1 minute in?
Oh, yeah, I'm smart. 5
I'm going to wait
books.
to 6 minutes in to become his agent.
Right?
Look at me. Look at her. Look at you. Who would I want to work with?
Okay,
You already tried to be his agent. You snooze, you lose. We're moving on here.
The 98% figure of revenue to the agent probably is a little...
A little high.
I had a relative in the music industry in the 60s. So
okay.
You know how to play. Really, have you thought about that? Because it seems that a lot of authors, that's pretty much the direction they're going with the intent to make movies.
I have.
Yeah?
And part of it, I'm not a marketing. I'm the typical, I want to write, and you got some folks that I just met in your studio are marketing people. Going, that's what I got to know people, because
Yeah.
I like to write, I love to create. My brain sort of goes to this place, where'd you come up with that? And I go, I don't know. It appeared. And so I wrote it down.
do you plan your books out in advance? So in other words, I'm not a writer myself.
Yep.
Well, I've actually written for some television, but
Yep.
do you have, so you're talking about a 5-book series.
Right.
Is everything already pre-planned in your mind, or do you let your mind kind of go where it goes when you write?
The scope of the 5 books is done. In my head, I've written the last chapter. I know what happens at the end. I'm not telling anybody. And so then each book I lay out, and then as I'm writing each chapter, let the mind go. And I go,
And so you just, when you sit down at your computer, sometimes you don't know how things are going to go, and
Right.
you've got an end point, but you let the magic happen.
Yeah.
It's fun to interview songwriters and writers, creative people, because sometimes the process goes so easy. You know, some of the greatest songs of all time have been written in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And some songs take a year.
Yeah.
And books, I would imagine in your case, there are days when it's very fluid and there are days when it's...
What do you do? Do you have a process, like a room you go in, a certain candle you light? How does it work?
Wait, that is a certain candle. Bucky's a man's man. If he's got a candle...
You got a candle, don't you?
I hope not.
Actually, I don't.
I wasn't
good.
even thinking womanly. I was thinking trying to get everything flowing, good energy vibes or something. That's what I would need. I need every help I could get to write a book.
Actually, a lot of it is as a skier, I've got a number of injuries, which I can no longer run. I can't ride bikes anymore, but I do a lot of walking. As I walk, my brain just kind of goes, and it just all of a sudden, I'm done. I've walked 4 or 5 miles, and all of a sudden I've got a chapter or 2 written in my head, and I go
Do you
right
have
to
a
the
tape
computer.
recorder? Or?
I have done that in the past, but I find it's best if I just remember it all.
Oh, wow.
And then I go right back to the computer and I just get going, or I'll take a piece of paper and I'll write down the main things I want to make sure I remember, the main themes, and then I let the imagination kind of go, the fingers start to
See, this is where you're
keyboard.
talented in this, because you actually can remember it all. I think that I could write award-winning books because I have these incredible thoughts, and then I sit down at a computer and it's like flatline. So there you go.
The genre is having unprecedented success
It is.
in the movie business.
Yes.
Who would you say, what series or what movies of this genre are you a big fan of, and who executes it the best?
Well, I think the best anybody has done has been, Peter Jackson with The Lord of the Rings. And his Hobbit one, expanding The Hobbit to 3 books takes a lot of imagination. But the work he did on The Lord of the Rings, it brought that book to life just for so many people.
Yeah.
The scenery, everything he put together was just... Everybody has tried to always do that book in one.
I did not. And here's one of the challenges I have with when you read a book, obviously you paint a picture in your mind
Yes.
every page.
Yep.
And that picture is so personal to you. Sometimes when I see books that I really love made into movies, it's disappointing.
Yeah.
So in this case, in the case of Peter Jackson, he was able to not only take a wonderful book, but he was able to actually overachieve.
Yes, he did.
That's amazing.
That is good.
It was, yeah, fabulous. So it was.
And in terms of your work, do you write these with the thought, I think Holly touched on it a little earlier, with the thought of making it into a movie, or does that, I mean, is that overly ambitious? Is that being kind of egotistical, or is that realistic?
He's making a movie. I'm the star in it.
Sure.
Well, we haven't signed the details yet.
Oh, okay.
I think since you met at a TV station, I have some financial, I think I get no.
See how he's trying to wrap it back around to
That's
getting you
like
to
the
sign that
WWE,
contract?
you know, Vince
Okay.
McMahon owns the characters. So The Rock and Steve Austin, they can't go
They're
out
for
under-
life, stuck to
exactly.
him.
He gets a percentage of all
So
their
you're
movies.
this is what you're trying to do here, I see.
Well, I mean, you know, if you financial opportunities
I like
present
how
themselves.
smoothly he's trying to just bring this back. He thinks that your ski, relationship up there at Snowbird is going to trump you and I's, deal here today.
The magic that's here, right?
Yeah, you can't fight this.
I
Trev.
think
You
we
can't
need to have
fight it.
Dramamine on the set here.
But to answer your question, my brain actually can see when I'm writing, when I'm walking, when I'm developing these things, my brain can actually see it happening. And I can see the characters. These characters are real to me. I mean, they could be sitting on the dinner table with me at some point. And so I can see them doing things. I can see the scenery. Being here in Utah, I mean, the mountains. When I was hosting the other day, somebody says, do you ever get tired? Oh no, these are so beautiful. How can you not know they're here? And so I see them, in the stories I'm writing, as well as lakes and rivers and things like that. Because scenery becomes so important in fantasy adventure.
Yeah.
And when these two brothers come to the Lazio Peninsula and find out they're touched by the sun, and the stone says, "You're touched by the sun," they go, "What? What do you mean? We're just regular guys. What do you mean?" And he explains to them, how there's certain people in the world who are touched by the sun. They're drawn to the light, to the fullness of life, and that's why the stone has brought them here to help rescue this woman who's been kidnapped, who's the symbol of hope. Hope, which is of course the strength and ability to get to tomorrow.
Could you, if I go on another date, I want you to write my date for me. You speak so poetically and so
Like that film Roxanne, remember? I
Exactly.
remember with the guy.
Steve Martin.
Yeah,
Steve
yeah,
Martin,
yeah.
right? That is very
That's what we need
poetic.
to do for him. We should help him out, really.
Yeah, I need someone to be my writer.
He
now,
does.
Real quick, before we go, there's been a paradigm shift in publishing.
Yes.
And so now, what's really cool, in my opinion at least, is a lot of talented people that had to go through a very narrow group of publishers and editors now can publish themselves and get their work out to a mass group of people.
You
Tell
can.
me about that a little bit, please.
When I first started writing, I guess 4 years ago, as for novels, you had to find an agent, and that would take you, who knows how many, 1-2 years. By the time the agent said, "Oh yeah, I like your work," it'll take them another year or so before they get you a publisher, and then a publisher would take another year. So it'd probably be at least 4 years, I would think, from the time you wrote a book, had it finished for publication before it really got out. And now with what Amazon does, and probably Barnes & Noble as well, but I've been working with Amazon, once you get it done, in a matter of weeks, you can get it published. Once you do all the formatting and really get it laid out and done everything, once you've had all the people read the book and give you the feedback, and you rewrite, which you always do. And it's simply amazing.
Wow.
And it's so democratic and such a great opportunity for talented people like yourself to get their work out there. How does someone find the book, purchase it, and send me money?
You're not getting away without a signature, I don't think.
Just asking. Okay, maybe the last part is not as important.
You go to Amazon and you put in "Touched by the Sun," and it's under the ebooks. Or I guess you have to do it in the ebook to do that to the Kindle section. You don't have a Kindle, you can put it up on an iPad or an iPod, those kind of things as well if you get the Kindle app.
Nice.
So if you, I don't know if you can see that, but that's what the book cover looks like. And so you can find "Touched by the Sun" and find my name, Bucky Zietz. And
You mentioned that if you can say your name, you can't spell it. So we were going on saying today, but yeah, it's pretty easy. We got it.
Yeah, and one thing I'll just put in too, because of sister-in-law who with early onset Alzheimer's, 10% of all sales are going to be donated to research towards a cure for Alzheimer's.
Oh, wow. That's
Fantastic.
awesome.
Well, Bucky, thank you so much for being on the show, and
Glad to
I look
have-
forward to getting a chance to read this book, and really appreciate you coming in.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. I'll see you at dinner.
Yes.
We'll be right back after this short break.